Welcome all, brothers and booze, baby. Welcome back, Greg. Good to see
Hi.
you, man.
Hi.
So since we got a guest coming in here, I'm gonna pour my first, and then we're gonna bring him in. I'm starting with a classic that I actually haven't had this particular one from them. This is from Westmail. It's their double. As we were discussing in pre-production, doubles are kind of seem to be something going a little bit on the way out or not made very much. So
to that.
More
doubles.
Man, this is
more doubles.
Got the lovely malty smell. I really love that.
Nothing like that smell, that malt and that Belgian yeast with a double.
Look at how that poured. That's just lovely. Nice big head. So what I'm going to do before I'm going to take this sip here and we'll give you a little rundown, then we'll bring in our guest. Man, that is classic double. All the right notes. Malty, crisp. Really, really love that.
I'm over here trying to spill a beer. I actually officially spilled another beer. Yeah.
You haven't even had any yet, so that's a major beer pal.
I have not had a beer today.
Yeah. So it's almost like they've been making this for centuries or something. It's like
56, man. And then they adjusted it in 1926. So even that recipe is still almost 100 years old.
Yeah, so this is perfect, man. So why don't we, while I'm enjoying this, because I am going to enjoy the hell out of this one, let's bring in our guest here. So we're bringing the rookie dad, Brandon Billinger, man. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing well, man.
Doing great. Doing great.
I'd like to think that Greg was so excited that I was coming on the show that he spilled his second beer.
Yep.
Right.
He was. It was all you, man.
I know, right?
Yeah.
You know, last week you guys have the sexiest man alive with Jason Green, and now you have the rookie dad. So and you get excited with both of us. I get it.
Very true.
Oh, too much excitement.
Much excitement.
So much so, I'm going with a dirty ass glass here, but
you did that last week.
That is our brand. That is our brand. Dirty glasses, baby.
Feature of the show. Dough and Heat. It's a lager from a local brewery called Oso Brewing.
Oh, awesome.
People in Wisconsin know Oso Brewing. People outside of Wisconsin probably don't know Oso Brewing. But it looks like a standard light lager. Obviously, we see craft breweries doing more of these. As a crossover. More power to them. And let's see how this one goes. This is a lager. Next. I don't know. It's a lager. It's nothing about it stands out. I'm not getting anything more than just a lager, to be honest with you. It's not. It doesn't stand out in any probable way. I would slam it. It's a lawnmower beer. It'd be a great beer to have for when your friends are over. They don't drink craft beer. This is a great one. But for me, it's just a lager.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I love lagers. Don't get me wrong, but I love when lagers stand out. And this one doesn't. So it's good. It's fine. I'm down with it, but
yeah,
nothing special.
Not something you'd be writing home about.
No, it's not. It's not what you have, man.
Yeah.
So it's kind of all due respect. It's kind of not. It's like, but I do like to try the lagers that the craft brewers are doing, and many of them are doing. Again, I love also they do good shit, and this is probably what they wanted, which is again just a straight lager for people. When people come in and say, "Where's my Bud Light?" We don't have it, but we have Dough and Heat. Here you go, buddy. And that's great. They need to keep customers. They need to keep people in there. They need to sell beer. So I'm all for it. It's just not my thing.
Yeah.
So Brandon, what's up with you, man? You're bringing
Bourbon. Yeah, I am bringing a Casey Original Tom's Town distillery. I just recently discovered these guys about a month ago. And I got to be honest, it has quickly become probably one of my favorites, and it will be one of my staples.
So quick question. So has it been one of those weeks where we need bourbon, or you're just accenting bourbon on the show to this?
We had a snow day this week with the kids, so I was home all day yesterday, as a matter of fact. So,
Okay.
so I need it. Yes, I need it.
That answers it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about that bourbon appeals to you? Is there certain? Is it?
You know,
it can go a lot of ways.
Yeah, this one doesn't have, with a lot of bourbons, you get that bite at the very beginning that kind of makes you go, oh, like, whoa. And then as soon as your mouth warms up to it, things start going down a little bit smoother. But this one never gave me that. And it's just nice and smooth. It has a nice oaky kind of taste, flavor to it. So, and I know they distill it in a, in an oak barrel. So it's really nice and smooth. So.
Yeah, it's something where, like with bourbons, it's why I tend to go towards more scotches, just because not having that real harsh thing at the beginning. But some people really enjoy that. That's
right.
Kind of a hallmark of it usually.
Yeah, and when I started drinking more, bourbon, I started out with scotch and I told a friend this one time. I don't know that I actually started out with a good scotch, and maybe that was my mistake. When I made the jump into scotches and bourbons, I never had a good one. So I just kind of shied away from it and started moving towards bourbons. So,
yeah, to each their own.
Yeah.
Well, we kind of roll on here. We always like whatever you like, and that's what you like to drink.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. So, I have to address the big elephant in the room here.
Yes. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody. So.
It would be remiss if we didn't mention it, but now, bye. So Brandon, so you're kind of from people who know you from the group. We got we have a couple people looking at the group. You're new to craft beer. You've recently, when I mean by new, I mean a couple years. You were added to the group a couple years ago, and you're like, hey man, I don't know, I'm just here to learn. So what have you learned in the past couple of years as far as where your tastes go and where you at with all of it?
I'm trying to think. There was one specific brewery that I remember talking, it was Dogfish. That's right. I remember. And I think it was a conversation that you and I had, Greg, and it was, you said, you did say drink whatever you want to drink. Cause I said something like, I think it was a night where I was dogging on Dogfish a little bit. I'm like, yeah, here I am drinking this. I don't know if you remember that or not. Mm-hmm. But I think it was their 60-minute IPA. Mm-hmm. And I think that was kind of my first leap into IPAs at the time. And I got to be honest with you, that quickly became a favorite of mine. I loved their 60-minute IPA.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a really good one. I'm a big fan of Dogfish. If you could ever get over there and visit, it's a great place to visit. Sam is a down home. He's just he's just like one of us, but he caught on beer, and it's just great. Sam, the owner of Dogfish, and now they're owned by Sam Adams and all that. But
I didn't know they were owned by Sam Adams.
Yeah, they Sam Adams bought them in a strategic partnership now, so you'll see a lot of we're going to start to notice a lot of Dogfish and Sam Adams collabs. So I can't wait to see those come.
Oh, cool.
Because, again, Sam Adams is obviously like the old traditional, like been there forever, old school. Then you got Dogfish. He's been there for a while, but they do some crazy and they don't really care. And that mix will be fantastic.
Right. Yeah. Was there any kind of backlash? Because I know when Boulevard here in Kansas City got bought out by, I can't remember who they got bought out by. It was one of the big ones. I know that, but there was a big, everyone was upset that they got bought out by some big brand, big brewery.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was some, and there still is some skepticism and all that, but not for me. I'm cool. As long as you're trying to, if this means Dogfish, can stay around and continue with delicious beer, then I'm in.
Yeah.
Great.
So that's kind of where it comes from. So, Doug, are you going to open up your next one? Because I really want to get to this hot point question about. I really want to know how a Kansas City Chiefs fan is not completely happy with Patrick Mahomes at this point. Because again, I'm not. The guy is the savior. I mean, look at what he did this year. Look what he
I
did
know,
last
right?
year. So I really, and it's about beer. So I really want to hear let's hear where we at with Patrick Mahomes.
I love him, except for when I saw him in the parade and he was drinking a Coors Light.
Okay.
I mean, to be honest, this was one of the first times you see him on game days, and you see this guy that's just about the game, and then it was so weird to see him kind of like let loose and just have a good time in the parade, and I'm thankful that he did, because I mean, I got to see a completely different side of him, and it was cool. It was cool.
Yeah. But the Coors Light was where
No,
it
that was. I looked at it and I said, your respect level from me just went down a little bit. and then I noticed he started drinking the Bud Light made these cans that said, Kansas City champion, Chiefs are champions or whatever, and he started drinking that. And I'm sure somebody was like, hey, you got to start drinking, the Kansas City stuff.
Right, we gotta get him some Boulevard, man. What's going on?
I don't know what happened with that. I saw today that they are going to be brewing a special Kansas City Chiefs champion brew. Now I that's all I know. I didn't get a chance to actually read the article, but I did see that they are going to be brewing something special for the Chiefs.
Well, there's an internet rumor going around about. See, I didn't know where you're going. I knew because of only production, but I didn't really know. There's another angle on Patrick Mahomes that people attack, which is apparently, I don't know if it's true, and I haven't verified it, but he puts ketchup on his steak. Is this true?
Yes, he does. And it's a sore spot. It's a sore spot among Kansas City fans. And I think there was somebody during that was sitting on Media Row that was talking about that during the interviews before the Super Bowl. One of his teammates, I can't remember who it was, but they said, "What's the one bad thing about Patrick Mahomes?" And it was that. It was exactly that.
Right. So now we verified that. So we have 2 strikes on Mr. Mahomes, man. 3, you know what happens. So like,
you won the Super Bowl for us, though, so who cares? I mean, everything's a wash now.
Man, again, you're doing something good. If the worst thing we can find about you is that you drank Bud Light after you won the Super Bowl and you put ketchup on your steak. So I think you're doing pretty good. You're in that lane, Patty. That's great. But, Doug, what do you got, buddy?
All right, so I'm going to shift gears slightly. Still dark. I'll be going to this milk chocolate, mint chocolate stuff from Flying Dog. Not one I've had before. So
sorry, not a mint fan, but we probably are.
And it's touchy because mint's such a strong flavor. You gotta be a little careful. So.
Where are you at with the mint beers, Brandon?
To be honest, I haven't had one yet, so it'll be interesting to see what Doug has to say about this.
Good answer. Doug's right. I'm not a mint person, but as long as it's like balanced, I can have some. But it's kind of good. It will be rough.
I can see this one going both ways, to be honest.
Yeah, either spectacularly or spectacularly bad. So,
yeah.
Doug, what's the brewery again? Let me look this one up.
Flying Dog.
Oh,
so they make a lot of really interesting stuff. So, yeah.
Doug, the thing about Flying Dog is I always got Flying Dog mixed up with Dogfish when I first started.
Yeah. So I'm pulling this out, and in the bottle, the mint was way more present. But after you pour it, it's not as much. So.
Okay, he laughs.
So it's interesting that the mint is a little more forward than the chocolate, which is usually not what you want when you do mint chocolate beers. You want the chocolate to be more forward. It's not overwhelmingly so, but it leaves this weird, not aftertaste, but like I guess it is an aftertaste. So, but it doesn't stay, but it's like kind of a weird combination. It's not bad. It is not good either, if that makes sense. So this wasn't spectacular, and it wasn't spectacularly bad. It was right in the middle.
So I was wrong. It can go another way than both.
Apparently. So it was definitely good to try. Not something I would probably get again.
Do you remember how much that one cost you?
This one was, I think, $3.25, if I remember correctly.
Not too bad. And Brandon, back to you. What are the prices on those bottles? Tell us more about the distillery.
Yeah.
I think when I went to the store the other day, it was about and picked up this first bottle. It was about $35. It really wasn't too bad. I'm one of those. I'm not going to spend a whole lot on a bottle of bourbon, but I've realized a price point with bourbon and whiskey that I can stay at, and I'm almost guaranteed to get something really good. But yeah, so this was about $35 for the bottle.
That's not bad.
No, yeah. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. And I assume, and I'm not assuming you know where it gets you, but for the most part with craft distilleries, I assume that it's a higher end. I almost assume it's a higher end, booze. So then I'm not looking. I know I'm not getting out of $20 a bottle. I just know it's not happening.
Right.
So then that's kind of how I look at it. So I'm just like, oh, I'm buying a higher end bottle of booze. Okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of how. I don't know. I don't know about you guys, but since I've been getting older, I've been wanting higher end stuff, whether it be beer, food, booze, any of that. The kids not so much. They can have McDonald's. Did I say that? Yeah, I did.
Yeah, yes, you did.
And I meant it too.
Yeah. There was a comment back there where Joel Kratzik was talking about, but he hasn't had it in a beer before.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, and I have to say, Southern Tier makes a thin mint beer. That's awesome. But that's because all the chocolate mint's really super well balanced. It's not all over the place. This wasn't all over the place. It was not well. I'm gonna say blended. That's the wrong word, but you know what I mean. It doesn't mesh as well as that one does. So.
Somebody has some silly interference. One of you, or is it me?
I don't
know. So Joel's another comment here. Joel says hotels too. I think he was commenting on me saying I want higher end food, booze, and something else. What else did I say? Something. Anyway, yeah, higher end
kids, not the kids though.
Yeah, not the kids. But hotels, higher end hotels. Do you guys, when you guys travel, is that something you think about, or do you just do the Motel 6?
I tell you what, I've gotten spoiled whenever I travel anywhere. It's usually with a brand or anybody whenever I'm working as an influencer, and we get to stay in some high end hotels. I've stayed at the Hard Rock in San Diego, and that pretty much set the bar for me now.
Is that what happens when you're an influencer? I wouldn't know.
That was a trip. I don't know, it was about 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah, that.
Kudos, man. Kudos, man.
Yeah.
All of.
Yeah.
So I think I got to get the one here. So we're gonna play Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo.
Yeah.
Somebody,
blind pick
during this live video. We've been voting in the Democratic primary, so I'm not trying to bring up politics. But somebody put something up and said, "Oh, I'm doing an Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo in Iowa because I didn't know." So I'm doing an Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo for beer. So Eeny, Meeny, Miny.
Much less at stake.
Mo, look at this. Right. Well, who knows what could go on here after I drink a couple beers. You never know. But
okay.
Look at this. What I pulled. I pulled Dogfish Head. Woo.
There we go.
Collaboration with Rodenbach.
Hey, that's one of my New York State beers. I think.
Vibrant.
No, I'm thinking of Rohrbach. Rodenbach.
Oh, I get it. Vibrant Potion. I should do some research before I get on TV. But anyway, well, here we go. I guess it's a sour ale. Look at this, Doug. This glass looks kind of clean, right?
That looks good.
Yeah.
How did we make that happen? We didn't mean to do that. So, Vibrant Potion is a cross-Atlantic collaboration that melds charm and a 2-year photo sour with 2 years. Wow. And the irreverence of an elderberry Elderberries.
Yeah.
Yes. Elderflower and fleur de sel kettle sour. I'm just gonna drink it.
Yeah. Well, Rodenbach is from Belgium, so that's where you get the sour and all that stuff. That's kind of not uncommon there.
Joel has another comment.
Joel trying to promote you.
Oh, Joel and
You
I,
would. I'm not gonna lie. You probably would.
Joel and I have been going back and forth on this a couple years now, right, Joel? Right. Anyway, wow. So first of all, are you familiar, Brandon, with a quote kettle sour is?
No.
A kettle sour is what I call a baby sour. It's not a real sour. A real sour is like put in barrels and like not thrown away, but not, like put away for like years, bring it back, they blend it, they do all kinds of wonderful things to it, and then they give it to us, and that's a sour. Well, kettle sours you can do like they normally brew. But
Much less time.
yeah, the what'd you call it, Doug? I'm sorry.
Much less time.
Yes, much less time. So it can brew at the same rate as a normal ale. But so it's a quick turnover. So like brewers like to do it because it gives you that sour. But it's like they can just turn it over and they don't have to. Some brewers, especially the new ones, don't have space or time to be waiting 2 years for a brew. Dogfish, obviously, they got it. But long story short, kettle sours are meant to be quick and they're meant to be very approachable and very not like too sweet. This one here, or too tart, or over sour. You're supposed to be like approachable. You're supposed to be able to give that to people who don't like sours. Or it's a good. This one here drinks like a regular sour. It's a little bit lighter than a regular sour. But it drinks like a bigger sour, but it's more drinkable than that. Does that make sense? Doug and I talk about how sours can be very you can only take so much.
Yeah, it's where it makes your stomach do all funny things.
Yeah, it's rich. This is really, really good. Let me get another one here. Yeah. It wants to be a big sour, Doug. Like it wants to be bigger, but it's not.
Yeah.
This is an approachable big one. I think everybody should look for this if you're in the sours or you're starting a sour. Like this is a starter sour. This is a starter sour. Good.
Nice.
I'm in.
So how about, Greg, we take a moment here and turn it over to our sponsor.
It's time for our sponsor. We should have
the sponsors.
Yeah, it's you. So give us a little bit about what you're involved in, what you've been doing. Give us the whole thing.
So I write a blog called The Rookie Dad. I started it, I want to say probably about, oh gosh, how old is my kid? 10? No, 9. And so I really wrote it as just kind of an outlet for me to be able to start writing about my journey as a father. And it's kind of evolved from there to more storytelling to now I'm, getting to do some, really cool influencer things. Like I mentioned, going to San Diego and getting to drive, a Kia Stinger around, Southern California. That was pretty fun. But I've gotten to do some really other cool things. I've done a road trip from Kansas City to St. Louis, thanks to Phillips 66. Got to do some other really cool things. Go to some baseball games and that. But yeah, that's kind of what I do. I'm also the organizer for the Kansas City Dads Group. So yeah, that's kind of what I do and the things that I do here. So I've got 2 kids, 9, sorry. 9 and 3.
I'm so used to do this myself.
and I have to say, I have a wonderful wife who is allowing me to do this on Valentine's Day night. So
look at that, right?
Yeah. When you've been married for 12 years, Valentine's Day just becomes, just another day. And my thought is, if you do things throughout the year to, tell them you love them, then you don't have to go big on Valentine's Day. So
in there, my friend, that is my stance and actually always has been. So
yeah.
So wonderful segue into obviously some people watch us live and Believe it or not, Doug, some people watch us later. I don't even know if you know. It kind of blows my mind.
Said he did earlier. He said that he watched our show.
Right.
Yeah, I watched the show with Jason earlier today. So
at the
I
time,
didn't know what I was getting myself into.
right. At the time this is live, though, we are only days away from pitchers and catchers. And while
Some
I'm
of them
not
have already reported.
what, excuse me.
Some of them have already reported.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
See, you can see I'm not really a baseball fan, but I know Brandon big time is. So, Brandon, I'm going to segue here real quick before we get to Doug's next one. You have obviously a piece here. So tell us a little bit about, obviously we want people to go to your website and read it, but tell us about the parallels you think between baseball and give us a few.
Oh gosh, now you're going to ask me to remember those.
Well,
How about give it,
what was your overall? Yeah, what was your overall thinking on that?
Well, I think if I remember that post correctly, and I know I sent that to you today, but if I remember right, that post was about watching my oldest, who I think was 7 or 8 at the time. Maybe he was 6. I can't remember when I wrote that story. That was a few years ago. Mm-hmm. But it was one of those moments where I knew he was having a hard time at the plate right there, where you see him sitting right there, but he was having a hard time, hitting the ball and whatnot, and he was frustrated with himself. And I went into the dugout afterward after one at bat where he was, crying after, striking out. And I go, "Hey, dude, just go out there and keep giving it your best shot." And so he did it at his next bat, and he had a double, and he was really proud of himself. And so then I don't even remember how this happened, how I made the connection, but there are so many days that as parents, we struggle to parent our kids, and we continue to go every single day and be better parents throughout the day, throughout our day and our kids' lives. So that's kind of how I made the connection a little bit to that.
Cool. I'm just ready for spring.
Me too. Yeah. It was 5 degrees here this morning, and I'm ready for spring.
Yeah.
Doug, do you have a follow-up?
I was going to say, speak for yourself on the getting better as a parent. I'm perfect as I am.
Okay.
I will agree with that.
Joking heavily. Very heavily.
I was going to say we're going to check in with the kids in post-production.
Trust me, there'll be many gripes. There'll be airing of grievances on our show.
We'll put that out on our Patreon account or something, whatever. Anyway, Brandon, it's awesome having you, man. It was you're a guy. No bullshit. You're a guy. One of the first people I believe I met at one of these tattoos. And I followed your stuff. I really have read your stuff throughout the year. So
that's good. Thank you. At least somebody's reading, other than my mother.
Yeah.
Yeah. We always love we always talk about the lack of people who watch us, but we don't care. We're good here.
Yeah.
So
I watched today. So
great segue, Doug.
Oh, for what? For more beer, right? That's what I'm going for.
Your third one?
Yeah. So my last one is one I'm really, really looking forward to. I believe I had it on the show before, but this is this year's iteration of it. So this is the bourbon barrel aged Troganator.
Oh.
So Trogs, this is a double bock that they aged in bourbon barrels. This one comes in at 9.8%, which I'm surprised it's not a little higher. I'm glad it's not, because I don't need a, super bomb, but the other two were right around 7 that I had. So this is the heaviest one I have for the evening. So comes with a fancy cork and everything.
Man, I drank all mine.
Ready?
Oh, I can't wait to this next one though.
Oh, that was anticlimactic. Sheesh. I was like ready for the pop, and it was like.
So, while Doug's doing that, or we can get him in, I just want to know what was the city like after you guys won the Super Bowl? Kansas City
nuts.
Kansas City obviously has been one of the most maligned franchises, as far as not I mean, you guys are always, yeah, Casey will get to the Super Bowl. They'll get to the playoffs and they're gonna fuck it up. And
Right, because there was what 7 years where there was 7 years where we lost a playoff game and we didn't even advance in the playoffs. We got to the first round and lost.
Right.
Yeah, so it was.
right.
This was much needed, especially after last year. When you think about how we lost to the Patriots and Tom Brady, thank God he's not with them right now. But yeah, I
May
mean,
not be with them later.
I
he won't be. He won't.
don't know if we have to worry about that shit anymore. I really don't. I'm serious.
But yeah, after we lost to him in overtime last year, I mean, this city, I knew we were going to be heavy favorites going into it this year. But when Mahomes got hurt, I think what was it, in week 3 or 4, we were worried. But I told my wife, I said, you think Kansas City was nuts when we won the World Series back in when the Royals won the World Series a few years ago? This place is going to go bananas if we win the Super Bowl. And sure enough, it was 9:00 at night and we had fireworks going out in our street out here. The kids were just outside running around. You could hear the roar from all over the city. I'm being serious. You could hear it.
Right.
Just how elated the city was to actually win.
Did you hear it all over the great state of Kansas?
Well,
and on that note,
I'm
sorry, I had to throw that one in.
So I laugh a little bit more at that. But no, there was actually
drinking.
This is why I shouldn't drink heavy beers when I do this show, because my brain goes to the wrong places.
There was somebody, I saw somebody from Kansas City post something on Facebook that they were talking about how, yes, we are on a state line and we're divided by Missouri and Kansas, but when people from Kansas City say where we're from, we say we're from Kansas City. We're not from Kansas. We're not from Missouri. We're from Kansas City. We're like one. It's. I think they said one Kansas City, and they keep on like the Visitors and Convention Bureau says that all the time. Like we're one Kansas City. We're not divided by a state line.
So you're not Berlin.
No. Okay. No, there's no wall in Kansas City, except when there's snow removal, and obviously the roads in Kansas are taking better care of the roads in Missouri. But that's a different story.
Doug, what's up with this Troganator?
So, this is delicious and super boozy. Like, considering it's only 9.8%, and I say only as a caveat because a lot of your bourbon barrel aged stuff is like way higher than that. It's got all those boozy scents and notes and everything tastes right. And it's not a booze bomb, but it's like a really good flavor. And to combine it with a double bock, like we always get the bourbon barrel aged stouts. I mean,
that's a top bar.
Yeah, it's just. So different because, like I said, you get the bourbon barrel aged stouts, even the bourbon barrel aged porters. Those are usually the most common ones, and this is, I don't know, it's definitely different, and I really, really dig this.
Yum. We had a comment from a little while back that I wasn't able to show, but
Doubles don't get enough love. You are correct, Paige.
And you never see them. Are you familiar with doubles, Brandon?
No, I gotta be honest. No, I'm not.
Well,
educate me. Yeah,
well, and the reason I asked it that way because again, it's not a style that is featured in many breweries anymore. I don't know. I don't even know if I want to say that, but
the problem is it has to be like a Belgian style brewery because that's what, and there's not a boatload of those in the United States. There's a handful, really. But there's some that try their hand. Like New Belgium does a double that's decent.
It's just an underbrewed style. How about that? And it's not brewed enough, in my opinion, and obviously in Paige's opinion. And I don't know. It's a malty beer that has that Belgian yeast character. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but and I don't know. Belgian does two things. They do their Belgians, their triples, quads, doubles, but they also do sours, out of control and amazing. So I don't know. I think the sour part of the Belgian beer culture is taking over America more than the other side, which is the the ales and the Trappist ales and doubles, triples, quads, which are fantastic. Doug's like, man, give me all those all day, right?
Yes, please. I will take all the Belgian beers. All of them.
I don't know, man. Belgian beers are an acquired taste.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
very much so.
It's kind of like coffee. Like the first time you might have it, you've been like, "This is shit. What the hell is this?" And then the next couple times you're like, "Damn, this is good." Or one of those things where if you the low end of anything, in my opinion, is generally, especially in America, crappy. Like the lower end food, McDonald's, Burger King. The lower end distilleries are not. The lower end distilled stuff is not good, and I think it applies to beers, and it also applies to. Were you saying, Doug? You're shaking your head.
No, I was agreeing with you. It's like the thing is, it's like as Brandon was even talking about with bourbon. Like you have the thing is you do have a price point. Everybody has a price point that they want to hit, and for beer, if I'm getting something really, really unique, then I'm willing to spend a little more because it's something that I'm not going to find often. But if you're going to buy something that's Bud Light or Coors Light, you know what you're getting, but it's going to be cheap. And maybe that's what you're looking for in a beer, and that's okay. But like for me, that's not what I'm looking for. It's just like Brandon, you want to find a bourbon that kind of meets the middle ground where it's like got the flavor you want, but it's not like your wallet's not crying when you're leaving the store.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I drink a lot of my bourbon straight, so that's why I want to spend a little bit more, because I know what I feel like I'm going to get a little bit more out of that. Whereas with some of those lower end ones, if I'm going to mix it with something, that's what I'll have one of those bottles on hand, just so that way I can mix it around with make an old fashioned or something like that.
Yeah. What are you pouring there, Greg? I saw you.
Yummy. The Brewing Project milk stout. Chocolate milk stout contains milk sugar. I don't know if you can see that. Cow.
A little too.
Cow. Yeah, cow. Is that me? Poured, no head. We'll work with it.
So this shouldn't be confused with the spotted cow.
That's
absolutely positively not.
Go ahead, Greg. You lay it on him.
You couldn't get more two different beers. Beer, Doug, tastes like that Southern Tier. Here we go again. Hot chocolate.
Yeah.
No.
I got you the chocolate milkshake one.
Yes.
They made a hot cocoa variant and they made a chocolate milkshake one. That was
the chocolate milkshake. This tastes like that. This tastes like a chocolate milkshake, Brandon. You ever have a milk stout, Brandon?
No, I haven't.
Milk stout contains lactose, so the lactose makes it a little bit. Creamy is not the word. I think
it is a little creamier and a little sweeter because of the lactose.
Oh, okay, cool.
It gives a little bit more mouthfeel too, so it's a little bit thicker. Sometimes, as far as a brew goes, sometimes like I had that lager before. Lagers are very thin. I mean, they're just meant to I think lagers just meant to flow through you. They're just like, they're meant to just pound, man. Yep. Whereas these, big stouts, and this isn't really even a big one. This is a 4 point something.
Lower middle road.
Yeah, like 6. I think it says 6. I think it's a 6 here. But it's not a big drinker. But it's but this is a winter beer. Like I say, winter beer as far as being dark and full, rich. This is a great dessert beer. This would pair well with anything that you pair with chocolate. This would be great. This would be great in the morning. Some
breakfast beer, baby.
There you go. Right. And come on now, let's get to the parenting here. One of the
before we go there, Greg, we have one thing that we have to have Brandon show us. It is a bourbon that I have never ever heard of or seen before.
It's this bacon bourbon. This is I I picked this up because of my friend Spike. In fact, we're rooming together at Dad too.
Spike Zalika?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Spike, man.
Everybody knows Spike.
Yeah, so I got this because of him, and I got to be honest. Even the gal at the liquor store was like, "I didn't even know we had that back there," and I said, and I was like,
"Been there for 10 years."
It could have been, but I told her, I said, "This just looked so intriguing that I had to buy it," and unfortunately, it wasn't one of the best, and I still have it sitting around, but I will say it does taste like bacon, and it does taste like bourbon. But the two mixed together just don't match. Don't gel well.
Okay, so
I would think that bacon would pair better with like a peaty Scotch than it would a bourbon.
And you're probably right about that.
Smoky notes to it, but yeah.
I was gonna say, because when they say, I don't know if you guys ever have bacon beer.
Yeah.
Okay, so bacon beer, in my opinion, doesn't taste like bacon. It's just over smoked. Is that what the bourbon is? That a good of it or?
Yeah, let me give it a little bit. Don't if you're not a fan.
I not to pour it in the glass that I was drinking out of earlier. Yeah, let me give this a shot.
Whole bunch, whatever floats your boat.
Right.
Let's try this.
Like, is it over? Because I just think over. I think when I say bacon, I just mean over smoked. Like that's kind of like the.
I haven't had this one in I'd say a few months. But now that I try it again, I get a real strong bacon flavor.
Wow.
And I don't get that bite of a bourbon. And it's actually not that bad now. Maybe it's one of those that just kind of has to sit a little bit. I don't know. But it's not so bad now.
So it's a little more drinkable then.
So Brandon, a
little bit, yeah.
You're more of a bourbon drinker than you are a beer drinker, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So then, does that happen? Because Doug and I have been talking about this for now years almost, about how cellaring beer changes the beer. Some things fall out, some things stay, and some things are more prominent. Is that the same? You find that the same with bourbon, where if you first open it up, you drink it, it's a different bourbon, like 6 months later?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think over the course of time, though, your taste buds will change, and you'll start to you might enjoy something that maybe you didn't enjoy 6 months ago, and you'll try it again, and you'll be like, oh, maybe that's not nearly not so bad. I've had that happen a couple of times with some other bourbons, but yeah, I mean that one, and maybe it's because I knew what I was getting into when I tried it this time, and that's why. I wasn't expecting a whole lot, and so it wasn't so bad. I don't know.
They don't. So from what I know about bourbons, they don't put many adjuncts in bourbon, and adjuncts are, cocoa nibs, mint, whatever they add to it. So maybe it's the adjunct. Maybe the adjunct part is the part that's falling out, and maybe the bourbon is not going to change that much. I don't know.
I can definitely taste the bacon in it though. I can taste the bacon. It's almost like a mapley bacon, and maybe that's what's throwing me off.
Well,
I love the. Or sorry, Doug, go.
No, I was going to say but if you take if you make old fashions and instead of using simple syrup, you use maple syrup, you can make maple old fashions. I wonder if that would do well with that.
Maybe, yeah.
I'm going after beer chick here.
Now you're gonna have me. Now I'm tempted.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
right. There's a lot of thinking going on. It's funny how we can think on that level with all that alcohol.
Yeah. Right.
Amazing. She comes up with these concoctions. I don't think she can come up with them if she didn't drink it. You know what I mean? Like she has to drink it. Like it just comes to her.
Maybe that's what unlocks the chest of ideas. Who knows?
Right. And I'm over here like, just can I have some?
All right, so Brandon, I want to add something. So we're all going to be at Dad 2.0 in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Greg's actually coming here, and he and I are road tripping down from my house. So what are you looking forward to there?
It's changed over I've been going this will be my 5th time going, and the first time I went, I was was really excited to meet everybody. Then the second year I went, I was, excited to interact with the brands that were going to be there. And now it's it's gone back to, I really enjoy the face-to-face interaction that I get with the guys there. It's great to see everybody, online, and, we're all in our own groups and whatnot. But that's that's the thing that I enjoy, honestly, the most. And the one thing that I look forward to for those couple of days is just that face-to-face interaction with everybody.
Yeah, the storytelling and just the camaraderie and as weird as it may sound, like the hugs from all the guys you don't.
Oh
see
yeah.
Like
they're commenting about that already, and my good friend Rob will be there. He's speaking.
yeah,
he's been through a lot this past year, and I'm glad he's going to be there. And the funny thing is that this will be his second tattoo, and his first one was in DC that this one is at. So that's going to be he's going to be a good cat to be hanging out with.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because there's some folks there. Obviously, there's some of the folks that the OGs of the group that are there.
Yeah.
But like seeing the newer faces involved, and like I said, there's meeting new people. And the thing is, it's such a condensed time. So sometimes I feel like Greg, when I met him at Dad 2.0 in San Diego, he and I were just like, hey man, it was like we knew each other for years and we just hadn't seen each other in a while. And
right.
Like there's some sort of times where you connect with folks like that, and then there's other times where like you see somebody and it's passing, but they make an impact, and that's kind of one of the cooler things about that whole conference for me.
Yeah,
everybody gets different things out of it. For me, it's like it's the interaction. That's
right.
What I'm looking forward to. What about you, Greg?
Oh, you guys said it all. Truth. I mean, for me, it's about the people. This is my first time actually going. The previous times I went 4 years in a row as a representative of the National at-Home Dad Network. So I went there just trying to spread the word on that, trying to get more sponsors in, trying to get more people to share our stuff. People know who we are, networking and all that. So this time, I am just going as a dad. I'm in a weird place. Not in a weird place here, but as far as my brand goes, what I do, I'm a beer guy now. I started off as a beer blogger, Daddy Porter, but I could never really find that synergy between talking about my kids and talking about beer. So then it was kind of like, excuse my language, but what the fuck? So then, all right, let's do beer and it's cool. So I don't even know if I'll be able to talk to a sponsor that would even be remotely close to my brand. I really don't care. I'm there to see you guys hang out. If something happens. Doug and I are actually going to mill for more guests. We want diverse guests. We want not only beer people, we want people to come and share our experiences. I wouldn't necessarily, Brandon, but I wouldn't necessarily call you a beer guy. To me, you're a dad, parent, hard ass worker. So someone who drinks on occasion, but we want to kind of have a full spectrum of people who, are trying to drink on a Friday night.
Yeah.
So we got
from for just a little bit.
Yeah, I was just gonna tell Doug I got a list of guys that we're gonna have to hit up. We'll talk about that on the way down, Doug. But I just want different people on the show, and so I think that's kind of my angle this year. I'm always blown away by the speakers that they have. I'm always blown away by the different events that they set up for us, whether it be Michael Strahan, whether it be drones, there's all kinds of nonsense that gets set up for us as dads, that we're just like out here geeking, and our kids would be so fucking jealous that we're out here playing with drones out of New Orleans. And I was like, San Francisco over to were you guys there? San Francisco.
I wasn't at San Francisco.
Oh my goodness, we went to Lucas Arts. I'm sitting there feeling like guilty, like I'm here, and I care. Don't get me wrong, I care about Star Wars. But
the San Francisco Summit was the one that drew me into it. I'll be honest. That was the one I started watching all the other dads online, and I go, I got to get out there. I got to do this.
Right. And for those of for those of the dad folks who want to attend, there's also, if you can't attend this year, it's a little too late for that, or you can get there and buy tickets, I believe. But there's also a thing that they do, an Orrin Miller scholarship. So you can also apply for that, but that comes earlier in the year. So if you're looking to do that maybe next year for a scholarship, you can actually apply for that. Usually it's, every year it varies depending on how much people contribute to be able to send people. My first Dad 2.0 was a scholarship thing because I couldn't afford to go. I would never.
Same here. Yeah. When was your first summit, Doug?
What's that? Oh, it's San Diego.
San Diego. Okay. All right. Yeah.
San Diego. However.
San Diego. Yeah. So, we were flying drones out there too, but it was too freaking windy.
Yeah.
Which is weird for San Diego to say. I mean, but and then another thing. Yeah. They told us we were going to have the best barbecue ever in San Diego. I keep telling this story because I don't know why the story just sticks with me. This is going to be the best barbecue you're ever going to have. And and I'm like, you're telling this to a Kansas City guy of all people.
Right.
And
Vincent, you're totally right. All right, so I'm going to make a guess, and it's a very educated guess. Vincent talks about how he's hoping to win a prize at Dad 2.0 because he has yet to. And everyone I've been to, I think Vincent's been there too.
Mm-hmm.
The person that wins every year is Mitch Chaitlin, and I have no idea how the hell he wins every year. He wins stuff every year. That guy has got like 15 rabbit's feet with him. It's great, but
I think he stacks the deck.
He
stacks it against for him.
I think it's karma, man, because that motherfucker is so funny. He gives out.
He's hilarious.
He's the complete funniest person there. Period.
Yeah.
Like, there's just no question. You will not sit with Mitch and not laugh. Like, you just won't. It's just not going to happen.
I hung out with him. It was the Sunday everyone was leaving in San Antonio, and
I am. Mike Keenan, the San Francisco treat over there.
He said he was going to root for the Chiefs, so because he can't root for the NFC. So
hey, Mike, at least it wasn't the Patriots. Let's look at the bright side.
I think he was calling you a homer though about the specifically the barbecue, because you're like, I don't care. There's no barbecue that's beating Kansas City, and I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going.
I have others that I would say might have a claim to that.
But listen, can't be that stupid. With all due respect, that stupid North Carolina mustard shit. No.
I agree. I'm not a fan of Carolina
barbecue.
But Nashville barbecue is really good, and Austin, Texas barbecue is really good.
And I'm not saying Kansas City's barbecue is the best by any means, but what I was trying to say was that, I mean, you're telling me the best barbecue I'm going to have is in San Diego. That's like that's like telling me the best sushi I'm going to have is in Omaha, Nebraska, of all places. I mean, come on.
And here's the thing: for San Diego, I kept hearing tacos.
Yeah, fish tacos.
And I didn't have any when I was there. I was very bummed. I'm so sad.
It
was cold and rainy in San Diego that year. So let's just let
it. It was.
Hey. These beers.
All right. So, yep, Dad 2.0, 2 weeks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Doug, we won't have a show that week.
No, we won't.
Be fluid, or I don't know. We might actually.
Maybe we'll pull some shit out of our hat on Friday night, or even maybe Saturday. Maybe we'll do it Saturday or something. The only thing is with Saturday is the Dad Voices thing. That's
what I was wondering. When was that scheduled? I couldn't remember. That's one of my favorite events of that entire segment. I know a lot of guys attend that.
Yeah, I was one of the administrators of that last year, and that was a blast. And it was not terribly long, but there were some really, really just excellent pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And the silence falls upon the room.
I'm not saying we won't broadcast. I'm not saying we won't broadcast from that too. I'm saying I don't know if we're going to do at that point. Yeah, we're going to do something from that too. Doug, we'll talk about this one. But
Yeah, we'll
I don't know if
take
it's
it
gonna
offline, as the freaking tech guys say where I work. That always drives me nuts. But anyway.
yeah, and I don't know, and Mike knows too. Like a formal show is kind of hard to do because there's so many moving parts with that too. And
Yeah.
part of the best part about it is for me is that like I kind of leave things open and I want to see what you guys are doing. And then usually what happens is you just get grabbed somewhere or
Yeah.
oh, I'm going to Mexican, I'm going to, and you're just like, okay, I want Mexican. Okay, I'll go with these guys. Or so that fluidness of it makes it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Exactly. I do.
This is the first year in I think like 2 or 3 years like I'm going as not as a speaker, so I feel like there's not as much pressure, and so I feel like I'm going to be able to be a little bit more fluid about how I'm going to tackle this year's conference. So
yeah, last year I did a panel, and that was a little more stressful because I was running the panel, so it was like I had a lot to make sure you're doing.
And what year was it? Last year or the year before that you did a spotlight too?
Oh, that was the year before.
The year before, yeah. I couldn't exactly remember. I remember
2 years ago.
you were really nervous about that, and I remember lots of people telling you there's no reason to be nervous about it, especially with you, man.
I was nervous as fuck.
I know you were.
And I was leading the conference off. Like they had a small keynote, and then I went up and I was like, I'm going to read this, and I'm the first goddamn thing everybody's seeing, and I'm like, I don't even. And I remember I went over time. I actually cut up. I actually was reading and saw that I was a minute and a half past the time I was supposed to have, and actually kind of cut off. I didn't read my whole piece.
Wow. They didn't do what they do at the Oscars. They'll slowly turn on the music and tell you.
They did not do that. And I remember walking off the stage like in this fucking haze. I was like, oh my God, like what did I just do? And that was a mess, but it was awesome. It was one of the more surreal but fabulously surreal things I've ever done.
Yeah, I could never do that. Let alone, first of all, writing a piece like that. First of all, putting it out there. Yeah, I don't know if I could do that. Now you want me to go and say that shit in front of all these people?
It was weird. It was way harder to read it than it was to write it.
I'm sorry, yeah.
Because when I'm writing it, there's a wall of I had the internet to. I don't have to say that.
Yeah, there's a disconnect.
Right,
right. There's a disconnect that you can get out of that, and then when you're reading it, you're just like, "Here's everything in here," and I'm just blasting it out at you people.
And everybody's watching you.
Yeah.
Right. Right. And then too, Doug, I don't know, real quick too, before we wrap up this wonderful show. The thing that I struggle with sometimes is that the overwhelming support that you get from people sometimes it's too fucking much. And it's weird because you're kind of at a point where you want to be able to appreciate people appreciating you. But on some level, it gets to be too much. Did you have that happen to you there?
I did not, but I'm going to tell you, like when we did the panel last year, and it was me and my wife, and we had Nick North, Amber Leventry, and we had Brett Allman. So my panel was, I don't remember what the title was, but my proposed title was Raising LGBTQ plus Kids. So it was like, this is a frontier that we're entering now. Kids nowadays are earlier realizing who they are and want to voice that, and they need support. So it was like this whole thing. And I remember talking to Josh Missner, who went, and I think he was, I'm not sure why he went more than other than he's a college professor. So maybe he was trying to gain some insight in that and how to address kids in his class who might be LGBTQ. And he said after that, he had to go to his room and regroup. Like it was that overwhelming to read it. And to me, that's the point of that sort of panel. Hey, I don't want to make you retreat, but I want you to realize that there's a shit ton of stuff at play that if you're like, so I'm a straight white guy, it does not get any easier as a person in America than a straight white guy.
Right.
These are people who are marginalized and working on the margins and really trying to just have their voices heard. And in a lot of cases, they're your kids, they're your family, and that was just, I barely spoke during that panel. I just let the panelists do the work, and I just kind of steered a little. It was great. They were all phenomenal.
But after that, it kind of felt like.
Brandon, do you have anything that was like kind of like overwhelming? You were like, whoo.
I tell you what, when I was in New Orleans a couple of years, I felt that too. That was the first year like I really started doing more influencer stuff, and people really started to ask me questions, and I'd never felt, for me, I just work, I work with brands, and I just do the things that I do. I never really, gave it much thought. But then people were always constantly like, coming up and thanking me, for the advice that I'd given them. And I'm like, this just seems, second nature to me, and I'm thankful you guys are all thanking me for this. And it was a really an overwhelming feeling. I remember getting to the airport there in New Orleans, and I told the group of guys that I was with, I was like, I got to go check in and just take like, 30 minutes and just like relax from this,
decompress.
And decompress and take this all in. That was, yeah. And last year was a little bit different. Where I did do a roundtable session, and I didn't feel that, and maybe it was because I felt a little bit more confident. I think maybe in New Orleans I was experiencing some imposter syndrome a little bit, and maybe I shouldn't have been. But yeah, I mean, I think it gets easier, the more you do this and go to the conference. Yeah.
The very first conference we did that I went to in San Diego, I wrote a post after that called "Sea of Imposters" that was all about imposter syndrome, because I felt like such a poser at that place, because you're walking into people that are big names, and like you're just like people who are huge in this community, and they're just up there, and I feel like I don't belong here, and I get that, man.
There's times I still feel like that. Like just today, Jeff Bogle sent me a message and was like, dude, you're in Parents Magazine this for March. I'm like, really? And he sent me a picture of it because I helped him out. I gave him a quote about some story, and I was like, dude, that's awesome, But I still felt like, that's just little old me, I'm just doing what I do, If I get paid for it, great. If I don't, it's not necessarily a big deal. But I mean. So I still experience that imposter syndrome a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. All day long here. All day long.
Yeah. Bogle's one of my favorite people, though. That dude's awesome. Yeah,
I'm glad he's coming this year.
Me too.
I told him today, I go, I think you're going to be one of the more popular people at the summit this year.
I think that's accurate, Stephen.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are really excited to see him and see that he's, coming back. So
he missed 1 year, fellas. Settle down. And the reason I know this is because he was there the last time I was there. And the reason why this is very interesting that it came up is because the last 2 years ago was the last time I was at that too. When I went there with the specific intent in mind, as far as my Daddy Porter stuff goes, to work on my imposter syndrome. And Jeff was one of the people I talked to. And if you look at my Twitter feed, there is a feed from 2 years ago of me and Jeff going live on Twitter, so that I would feel more comfortable. And Jeff wanted me to feel more comfortable in front of live show. Yep. He's like, "You're fantastic. What's the problem?" And I talked to him about it, and we went live. And we went live for a while, and he's like, "Look, I don't know if you know, Jeff's not a beer drinker. Jeff's a soda drinker." Yep. So root beer, right? I'm pretty sure.
Beer, yeah.
Right. So he talked about root beer, and I talked about beer. And it was like a 7-minute thing. And that's I'm glad you guys worked this up because it's perfect. That showed me who Jeff Bogle is, because I don't have any followers. I don't have any people. I just don't. And he's, again, amazing travel blogger, amazing dad blogger. He's just humble as shit. None of that has ever affected him or who he is as far as the person inside. It's never gotten bigger than that. And Jeff's a big guy. It's never gotten bigger than his stature. And I mean tall. Jeff actually lost a lot of weight. Actually, Jeff used to be wider. Yeah. Jeff's like half of Jeff that we all met before. That's another great story about him. But I can't say enough good about that guy. But specifically what we're talking about, he literally went out of his way and it's time to try to help me grow as a person because he believed in me and he believes in what I do. And I don't know, I haven't really had that much interaction with him. Honestly, we've seen each other at a bunch of these things. I don't think we've ever broken bread together, but he just has that kind of heart.
Right. And I think one of the other things, and this is not to discount Jeff at all in any way, shape, or form, but when you go to Dad 2, you experience this with a lot of the guys there. They're always there and they're always encouraging you to be better at what you do. I mean, it's not just exclusive to Jeff. Let's be honest. I'm sorry, Jeff. and I don't think he would have any. I don't think he would have any problem with me saying this either.
No, not at all.
I think you experience that there, where everybody is there to, quote unquote, lift all boats.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now,
if you raise the sea, all the boats will rise. That kind of thing. Yeah.
Yep.
Now, I don't feel imposter syndrome like that too. Where I feel imposter syndrome is at the Beer Bloggers Conference, and it's almost the same thing with you guys. Because again, you guys are considered quote, or you guys are definitely dad bloggers because you speak about your parenting and stuff. Where I speak about beer and all that. So then when I go to a bunch of places where people talk about beer, this is where I get the imposter syndrome, and then this is where I get to talk about what me and Joel talk about. Like, yeah, I'm not an influencer. I can't, on some level, I would still have this almost like, not that I can't, but like, I can't, it's stopping me from doing. But like going to be around, Paige we put up here. Paige is amazing, wonderful, fantastic writer. She knows her shit up and down. She's up in Minneapolis. She's just amazing. Her husband's amazing. And it's just hard, again, like, this is not going to that 2.0, but going to that. It's just hard putting yourself there and being like, damn, well, look at all these people. And it becomes just like, dude, just chill. You have your own thing. Like, Paige can't be, middle-aged black dude beer guy. She can't do that. So you can do that. And that's your thing. And stay in your lane. You know what I mean? Like, you have to almost self-talk yourself.
Yeah, and I'll second that, and I'll agree with you because I've started, at Dad 2, that the imposter syndrome isn't as much as, say, like I took a trip to St. Louis. It was a familiarization media trip. And there was a bunch of people from magazines and other, bloggers, big name bloggers out there. And I'm like, here's little old me, on this trip with all these other people. And I'm like, I don't belong here in any way, shape, or form. But yeah, so I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
But you do.
But you do. Right. Thank you, Doug. And that's exactly, you're there for a reason, and you're there because you do. And that's what you have to talk yourself out, something. Yeah.
There was, and I can't remember who said this, but this was, I think it was last year when somebody said that when you start thinking like that, when you like the first year I was a speaker at Dad 2, I remember the imposter syndrome going through me like crazy. But when somebody said this to me last year, they said, the way you have to think about it is you're here, they're out there. They're on the outside looking in at you at this moment, and you're there for a reason. Like you're chosen, like you were chosen to do this for some, for some reason. And I don't know, I can't, and I'm not quoting them correctly, and I feel like I'm doing them a disservice, but that's the way you have to think about it. Like if you're speaking on stage, you're up there, and the rest of everybody's there to listen to you. And so that's the way you have to think about it. Yeah.
They want to see you do well, and they want to hear what you have to say.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. It's a weird thing the way your brain can just be like, all right, so there's certain things I can write, and I know I can write certain things well. But after I post it, I'm like, that's a hunk of shit.
Yep.
It doesn't matter how good or how bad it is. I'm just like, that's a hunk of shit. And
so many times I've gone back and looked at posts, and I'm like, that is a piece of crap. And I'm like, I can't believe I wrote that. But yet it's still so well received that I'm like, okay, all right, maybe I did something right, So, but
yeah, I got like I got 5 or 6 shows of Daddy Porter styling that I still have not yet released, and I need to get off my ass and release them. And part of it again is it's not imposter syndrome. Part of it is like, all right, fuck it. And then it goes a day.
Just do it. Get it out there.
Right.
That's what you gotta do. Just get it out there.
So this is why I love Doug, and this is why he's my boy, and this is why he's helping me more than he even knows, is because of this live show. Forces me to talk about beer, forces me to do this. Again, if I didn't have a partner in crime, I would be able to ditch out all the time. But I know that Doug's there doing the show every week, so I can't ditch out. So I'm in. So it doesn't really fucking matter. But if I didn't have Doug, they're being here every week, like, let's go, boy, let's go. And he's not like that, but the fact that I have to do this with someone else, and I don't have to let them down, is more motivation for me than letting myself down. Does that make sense?
No, it totally makes sense.
Okay.
Because here's the thing: is you're not letting me down. It's just me. Hey, man, let's do this. What are we talking about? And
talk about stuff we enjoy.
Yeah, and there's a like my friend Jay, who's we're gonna start getting our podcast back together for that parental advisory thing. We've both had stuff go on in our lives that was like just threw everything out of kilter, and it sucks, but it's something where, I had stuff go on with my brother. He had a stroke. He's 42 years old. He's got a ton of therapy and stuff to get back to even just being what would be considered normal. And he's doing great with that. But like that kind of stuff throws such a monkey wrench into everything. Mm-hmm. And it just makes you realize, oh, some of that stuff I'm worrying about is so dumb. Why am I worrying about that? Right. If there's any silver lining out of something that's that horrible, that's it. And it makes you kind of realize, hey, life's short. Go do your thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So on that note, Brandon, it's been wonderful having you.
Yeah,
we're gonna wrap up here, but do you want to wrap up with you want to tell us about what you had tonight and talk about the bourbon that you had quick?
Yeah. I had the Tom's Town Distillery from Kansas City. Again, one of my favorites. And then I also had the Bacon Bourbon, which has grown on me during this show for some reason. And I don't know why.
Hey,
but
I know why. It's right here.
Recommended by Spike.
Recommended by yes.
Yes.
If you know him, he's huge into bacon. So that's the real reason why I got it.
Oh,
was just for him.
Yeah.
All right, Brandon. Excuse me. Thanks for coming on, brother.
Yeah, no problem.
We'll see you live in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And, we hope to have you back if you're willing to grace us with your presence.
Absolutely.
Talk about nonsense and have a couple beers.
Yeah.
Anytime you need me.
All right, Brandon. Thanks for coming on, buddy. We'll talk to you soon. We'll see you soon. Even better. See you soon.
Yep.
Later, man.
All right, Doug. So, Brandon, fantastic guest. Fun. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Again, the thing that I liked about, there's a bunch of things that Brandon talked about that were cool, but one of them, in my opinion, was like, again, like if you're a football fan, you know how maligned the Kansas City's been, especially as a football town, and they come out all the time. They come out hard for their football team. Like,
yes, they do.
Like, they're all there. It's cold. It's windy. And they're like, we don't give a shit if we lost in the playoffs last year. And then they lose in the playoffs again. And like, it's just like, so it was just awesome to see them like break through, especially with Andy Reid too. This guy has been, a great coach forever, whether you like him or not. He's a great coach forever. And it's just nice to see that like redemption. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's nice to see, I like Mahomes because for some reason, he does stuff on the field that I haven't really, like, just the idea he could throw the ball from like sideways and like he just some stuff that you just don't see. But the thing that's been amazing about watching their run was the idea that like every game they were way behind, and he just was like, "All right, guys, time for us to go show up. Let's go do this." And he never doubted, and all those guys rallied behind him, and it's great to see that kind of stuff.
Well, and he literally had the worst fraction of his career in that Super Bowl. It was literally his worst statistical period. And then he completely flips it until like a win. It's like, what, motherfucker? So, it's crazy. I don't know if we've ever seen anything like that before. Again, so we're going to wrap this up here. Doe and Heat, lager, meh. If you like lagers, it's cool. nothing stands out about it. With all due respect to Oso, but I bet you that's what they want. I suspect they just want it to be a straight lager, and that's what they got. Nothing again for me who likes big flavors. Nothing there for you to see it. Sorry. Second is this cow milk stout. It was very much like the one you sent. Did you send me the milk chocolate one? Or I don't know. I get mixed up. It was fantastic. Milkshake, yeah. Milkshake. Really, this is kind of like it. Very, very milky and chocolatey and nice. Low ABV too. I believe it was below 5. I couldn't find it. But so a nice drinker in the winter. Again, sometimes these winter dark beers, like sometimes you want a nice winter dark beer and you don't want it to be like 10,000%. So that's one of them. And then last but certainly least is collaboration between two fantastic breweries, Dogfish, Roerbach, a nice little sour, a little bit more of a sour than your normal kettle, but nice enough so it's approachable. Fantastic, love it. Boom. What you got?
All right, so the one that I probably liked least was the mint chocolate stout from Flying Dog. Yeah, Flying Dog. It was okay. They didn't blend the chocolate and the mint together well for my palate. So now I drank it all, but that's because I'm not a person who wastes stuff if I can help it. So that's more me being practical than anything.
Mm-hmm. Haste makes waste.
Yeah. So second one was Westmail Trappist double. Really good. Perfect double. Really just, you can't ask for more than what this gives you. It's right on point. They've been making it for fucking 800 years or whatever. You're going to get what you get, and it's going to taste great. So
and you're not going to throw a fit.
No. The winner was the bourbon barrel aged a Doppelbock that's just, it's great because it's like you don't get barrel aged Doppelbocks at all. I don't think I've ever seen any others besides this. Have you?
Oh yeah. I think I had one on the show actually, but yeah, it's not a lot.
Not a common style.
Well, Doppelbocks alone, you know what I mean? Not many.
Even Box, like, and then going to Doppelbock is like there's just not a lot of those. It was boozy, but not overly so. It was got all the Bach characteristics you want. It was just superb, and I really, that was my favorite. So,
boom. Well, excellent. Next week we have Fred Swanson from. I'm not even going to say it. He's from a local distillery here. I can't remember. Flying Go. No, see, I don't even want to say it. He's from a local distillery. He's a representative. He's a national representative, so we'll be able to get into the muck of a distillery.
Get into the nitty gritty. This is going to be fun.
Going to be fun. And in 2 weeks is that too. So, Doug, we roll. I will see you next week. Good times.
Yep.
Cheers. Thanks, everybody. Daddy Porter Group. Go to the Ricky Dad. Scotch for yours. All that shit.
All
Cheers.
that, man. Cheers.
And the broadcast. Bye.